Thank you, Senator Duckworth. Senator Schmitt, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I suppose what you're hearing today is a voice of frustration that our military, the most, honored and respected military in the world, certainly among the American people, that this administration is hell-bent on politicizing that the offspring of identity politics, which is incredibly divisive, has now made its way through DEI trainings in these branches. And I think you're hearing that from a number of senators, which is reflective of what's happening across the country, what we hear from our citizens. It is naive to believe that this is not divisive among recruits or people in the military. We have heard from members of the military who've said that they resent being subjected to this totem pole of grievances, this oppressor versus oppressed. The military has been a shining example of what a meritocracy can mean. People from the humblest beginnings can rise to the highest ranks, do heroic things. Parades can be thrown, in New York City for these heroes. And that this flippant desire to inject politics now is dividing this committee, it's dividing this country, it's completely unnecessary. The United States of America is an idea, the American idea that, everybody is born with certain rights and they can pursue their dreams, and we believe in equality of opportunity. This sort of obsession with this equity agenda that you all are defending here today with just sort of a word salad is divisive. And the military literally has stood as this most respected institution where people can achieve great things and protect this country. And here we are in a committee hearing when China is militarizing islands. They mean business. And we're having to spend time to talk about DOD's $114 million budget request for diversity, equity, inclusion training. This stuff is nuts. I want to ask each of you, have you heard, is there any intelligence that you've heard that communist China is somehow intimidated or deterred by our DEI initiatives? I'll take that as a collective no. And so our focus here is maddening, I think, to a lot of members, as you've heard. And I want to ask a couple of specific questions. Ms. Jones, specifically, the DOD has put out an equity action plan issued a few weeks ago that said the department is implementing a range of initiatives to ensure equity for minority service members at critical career touchpoints that include recruiting and accessions, progression, and promotion at the senior leader level, ensuring equity. What does that mean? What does ensuring equity mean?
Senator, I don't know that it's possible to ensure equity, but as an example, when we look at promotion boards, all of that information on demographics is hidden. But afterwards, we look to see, are there any trends that we think are challenging? Are there any groups that we feel like maybe we need to relook how we're approaching training, or are there barriers? For example, the barriers that we had with women who were choosing to leave our service because of some of the policies that we had. So that's what we're focusing on.
But how do you, what are you measuring? Right? Because I think we all still believe, I hope, in equality of opportunity. Ensuring equity or outcomes, the government really shouldn't be in the business of that. So I don't know exactly what that means or how you're measuring quote-unquote success.
Senator, our retention is a key focus of that. And again, we're not looking at any quotas. It's based on meritocracy, but we are looking for where there are barriers to serve that are impacting certain parts of our population in different ways. Okay.
Well, I'm running out of time, and I want to ask this to anybody who's willing to answer this. Undersecretary Cisneros testified to our personnel subcommittee last week that DOD continues to take steps to improve and increase DEI, and the department is working to further understand root causes in the area where we lack diversity and develop initiatives that have measurable outcome metrics, maintain appropriate data to inform and target efforts, ensure environments are inclusive for all who serve, and foster strong governance structure oversee these efforts. Look, I don't think you're going to find anybody in here and across this country who doesn't believe people should be treated with respect, with dignity, no matter who you are. And we want the best defending this great country, but I just am very concerned. I don't know what develop initiatives that have measurable outcome metrics based on equity means. And by chasing this, it's driving a wedge in the military. And it's completely unnecessary. And by the way, we're spending, like I said, $114 million on that, just in this one department, not government-wide, but with DOD. Can anybody tell me what the metrics are for equity? Because it's an outcome-based measure, right? Like, what is it that we're measuring?
Sir, for the Navy and Marine Corps, the ultimate measure of how we are doing is our ability to deter and fight and win wars. And in close consultation with both service leadership of the Navy and Marine Corps, we have heard that developing diverse, capable teams is essential to developing warfighting capability. The Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps testified about 2 weeks ago at the House Armed Services Committee. Pretty much the first thing that he said out of his mouth is that the Marine Corps is ready to fight tonight. Well,
real quickly, because this is all I've got time for. Since you're speaking, obviously, here in capacity with the Navy, Anderson Air Force Base has a memo that's been uncovered that you can't refer to someone as him or her, yet they have gender identity trainings. How does that? And by the way, the justification for that is to add to, lethality. How does that help us be a better fighting force by not referring to a man as him or her in a memo? Like, how does that help us? And I'm happy to provide, if you're not familiar with the document that was uncovered last summer. How does that help us? How does that make us more lethal fighting force?
Sir, I can say every day in the Pentagon, there's yes, sir, no, ma'am, and so forth. So I'll have to take a look at
we'll follow up.
That is.
Appreciate it. Thank you.